say it all the time, but the NBA has never been as talented as it is now. Teams are deeper than ever, and it has everything to do with how today's young athletes hit the ground running and make an immediate impact in the league. Here are the best under 23-year-old players on each NBA team. Of course, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos if you're new. At number 30, we have J.D. Davison of the Boston Celtics. Davison is currently on a two-way contract and is spending the majority of his playing time in the G League with the Maine Celtics. Davison was drafted in the second round of the 2022 draft, but was a consensus 5-star recruit in high school, so he could end up being a steal. At 20 years old, he's the only under 23 player on the vet-heavy Celtics roster. Like the Celtics, the Suns are another team with a lot of veterans and only have 22-year-old Dwayne Washington Jr. as their sole under 23 representative. Washington Jr. was originally signed by the Pacers after going undrafted in 2021. So far, he's only played in 4 games for the Suns and hasn't made a tremendous impact yet, averaging just 1 point per game. At number 28, we have Brandon Boston Jr. of the Los Angeles Clippers. It came down to Boston Jr. or Moussa Diabate for the spot, but we're giving the edge to Boston Jr. He's averaged 2.6 points and 0.4 rebounds in 5 games this season, but at 20 years old and a former 5-star recruit, there's still time for him to potentially become an impactful NBA player. Up next, we have our first lottery pick on the list, Danny Avdija. Avdija played in 11 games for the Wizards this year, starting 8 of them, while averaging 4.5 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 1.4 assists for the 5-6 Washington Wizards team. And while he may have not been the right pick in the 2020 draft ahead of guys like Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey, and Devin Vassell, he's the best of their young core right now and still has prime development years ahead of him. As you might imagine, on a LeBron-led team, most of the Los Angeles Lakers have been around the league for a while. As such, there are only 2 players under the age of 23, and their best one is 19-year-old Max Christie. Christie was drafted in the top of the second round in last year's draft after coming off a solid freshman season at MSU. Christie has appeared in 6 games and is averaging 3 points, 1.3 boards, 0.5 assists, and 0.3 steals per game. MarJon Beauchamp of the Milwaukee Bucks comes in at number 25. Like a lot of contenders, he's the only under 23 player on the roster, but he's been a solid role player for them. Beauchamp has only played in 8 games this season, but is averaging 5.9 points and 3.1 rebounds in limited minutes. At number 24, we have Josh Green of the Dallas Mavericks. Green is 21 years old and has played in all 11 games for the Mavs this season in a bench role. His scoring has taken a noticeable jump from last season, but it's still only at 6.3 points per game. Granted, he's only averaging 18.5 minutes. If this list were a few years ago, Talen Horton-Tucker would be much higher after a breakout preseason with the Los Angeles Lakers. But sadly, the Jazz forward only comes in at number 23. THT is averaging 7.5 points, 2.9 rebounds, 1.8 assists, and 1 steal per game for a surprisingly good Jazz team. He may not be the elite player scouts predicted, but he looks to have a solid floor. Like THT, Wiseman's unfortunate injury luck has prevented the 21-year-old center from playing a full season of basketball since his senior year of high school. In 10 games this season, Wiseman is averaging 7.3 points and 4 rebounds per game. His upside is still tremendous, but for now, we have him as our 22nd pick. Onyeka Okongwu of the Atlanta Hawks is providing valuable bench support for the 7-4 Atlanta Hawks and is currently our 21st selection. He's come a long way since sharing the Chino Hills courts with the Ball brothers, but after being drafted 6th overall in 2020, he's averaging 8.2 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 1.1 assists. At number 20, we have Patrick Williams of the Chicago Bulls. Williams is the first starter on this list, appearing in all 13 games for a solid Bulls team. Williams may have been higher on this list had a brutal wrist injury not derailed his promising sophomore season, but the talent is still definitely there. At 21 years old, there's still plenty of time to blossom into a true impact player. At number 19, we have Cam Thomas, who was considered by many to be the steal of the 2021 draft. The 27th pick was profiled as a walking bucket, and he certainly lived up to the billing. Thomas hasn't got a ton of run on a Brooklyn Nets team with championship aspirations, but he's done the most of his limited minutes and is averaging 9.3 points, 2.1 assists, and 1.6 rebounds per game. And if nothing else, he'll always have an iconic buzzer beater against the crosstown rival Knicks on his resume. The Memphis Grizzlies are an impressive and very young team, led by the likes of John Morant and Desmond Bane, but Santi Almada is our pick for their best under-23 player. The 7-foot Almada has started all 12 games for the Grizz and is averaging 9.2 points and 6.2 rebounds per game. He's off to a good start, and we expect him to build on it. At number 17, we have Shaedon Sharpe of the Portland Trail Blazers. Sharpe was a former #1 high school recruit who slipped to the Trail Blazers in last year's draft with the 7th pick. Sharpe has exceeded early expectations, especially after suffering a shoulder injury in the summer league. Sharpe is averaging 9.4 points on 52.6% shooting and 45.5% from 3. The Blazers got a good one. Much was said about the Sacramento Kings passing on Jaden Ivey in last year's draft for Keegan Murray, but give the kid some credit, he's been great. Our number 16 under-23-year-old has started in 7 of 9 games this season while averaging 13 points and 4 rebounds per game. The 22-year-old has safely been the 4th best player on his team, which is no easy feat for a rookie. At number 15, we have Bones Highland of the Denver Nuggets. Despite not starting any games this season, Bones has been playing great basketball. In 9 games, he's averaged 14 points, 3.7 assists, and 1.7 rebounds. The Nuggets have had to make room in the starting lineup for the returns of Jamal Murray and MPJ, but Bones might force his way into the starting lineup if he continues his impressive play. Listen, no disrespect to any of the players who came before, but we're getting into the real high-impact positions now. At number 14, we have OKC's Josh Giddey. Still only 20 years old, Giddey has started and played in 8 games for the Thunder and is averaging 13.4 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. His impact is felt all over the floor and is the Thunder's second best player behind the on-fire Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Scotty Barnes may be only 13th on this list, but he has as bright of a future as any young star in this league. The sophomore has started in all 11 games for a good Raptors team and is stuffing the stat sheet with 14.2 points, 6.7 rebounds, 5 assists, 0.8 steals, and 0.5 blocks per game. Barnes' stock is so high that nearly all NBA analysts were against including him in a potential Kevin Durant trade this offseason. The Cleveland Cavaliers have an embarrassment of riches at the under-23 position, but Evan Mobley gets the nod at number 12. Mobley has drawn comparisons to Kevin Garnett and is already a major force on both ends of the court. He's been the 3rd best player on a great Cavs team, averaging 15.9 points, 6.5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, and 0.9 steals per game. He's a franchise-level talent and will be for a long time. Number 11 might be something of a surprise, but 22-year-old Devin Vassell has earned this spot with his incredible scoring stretch this year. Vassell has started 6 of 8 games this season while averaging a whopping 20.9 and 4.3 assists. Keldon Johnson may be getting all the shine in San Antonio this season, but Vassell is more than holding his own. At number 10, we have the reigning 6th man of the year, Tyler Hero. This year, Hero has been elevated to the starting lineup and has been one of the Heat's best and most consistent players, averaging 19.6 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 2.6 assists per game. The Heat aren't off to the start they envisioned, but Hero's play has solidified himself as a key piece of the team's present and future. The Orlando Magic haven't drafted 1st overall many times, but when they do, they absolutely nail the pick. Paolo Banchero was a bit of a surprise choice in the lead up to last year's draft, but his incredible play has made anyone doubting him look foolish. He's currently leading the Magic in scoring with 23.5 points and also chipping in an average of 8.3 rebounds and 3.6 assists per game. Banchero is a beast, and at 19 years old, he's barely scratching the surface. At number 8, we have Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. Maxey has started every game this season for the Sixers and is off to a blistering start, averaging 23.6 points, 4 assists, and 3.5 rebounds per game. With James Harden out, Maxey has had to adjust to a larger scoring and facilitating workload, and the results are very promising. The 76ers are Embiid's team, but Maxey is a crucial part of their roster. RJ Barrett may have been in trade talks all summer, but he's shown the Knicks why they were right to hold on to him. Barrett is 22 and averaging 19.3 points, 2.9 assists, and 5.8 rebounds per game. The Knicks haven't exactly been a model franchise in recent years, but Barrett has been a bright spot since being drafted 3rd overall and will continue to be so for many years to come. At number 6, we have Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Ant-Man might be the most freakish athlete in the NBA, and it shows up on the stat sheet. He's currently averaging 21.3 points, 5.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and 1.3 steals per game, and is only 21 years old. The Timberwolves might be Cat's team, but Edwards is coming for that title. Kicking off our top 5 is former first overall pick, Cade Cunningham. Cunningham is such a joy to watch, an elite talent that does everything really well. He's currently leading the Detroit Pistons in scoring and assists with averages of 19.9 points and 6 assists while chipping in 6.2 rebounds, 0.6 blocks, and 0.8 steals per game. Cade has been every bit as good as advertised, and he'll be the Pistons' cornerstone player for many years to come. At number 4, we have Jalen Green of the Houston Rockets. There aren't too many bright spots on the Houston Rockets, incoming Brooklyn draft picks aside, but Jalen Green has been awesome. Green is leading the team in points with 20.8 points per game and is still only 20 years old. When the Sacramento Kings traded Tyrese Halliburton at last year's trade deadline, it shocked the NBA, and Halliburton is showing everyone just how big of a mistake it was. In 11 games this year, Halliburton has been a man on a mission, leading the rebuilding Pacers in points, assists, and steals. He's impressively averaging 21.6 points, 9.9 assists, and 1.8 steals. He's our number 3 under 23 player and the exact type of point guard every team wants. At number 2, we have Zion Williamson. Since the first moment Williamson put on a Pelicans jersey, he's been borderline unstoppable. Unfortunately, injuries have gone in the way of his career so far, but despite missing all of last season, he's still putting up 22.7 points, 6.7 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and 1.1 steals this year. Zion is a phenomenal talent, and if the injury bug is behind him, the sky is the limit for the 22-year-old. At number 1, we have the one and only LaMelo Ball. Ball hasn't played this season due to injury, but he's as transcendent a young talent as we have in this league. Last season, Ball averaged 20.1 points, 7.6 assists, 6.7 rebounds, and 1.6 steals per game on a Hornets team without super high-end talent and guided them to a .524 win percentage. Without him, the Hornets are currently sitting at .231. He's the engine behind that entire team, and his return can't come soon enough. And those are the best under 23 players on each NBA team. Did we get any wrong? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and of course subscribe for more videos if you're new.